Welcome to Verbal Pig Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Look, the movie Get Out has been the hottest discussion upon movies for a while. I even think it surpasses Django in a sense because we dealing with this time, modern day, even though Django gave you insights to what took place in a slave era, and you can see the effects that it had upon modern times. But this movie Get Out is dealing with organ harvesting. It's dealing with what the teaching says of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad of the last trick that the white man would use was he would give you his woman, and she poses as a an agent in a sense for him because i.e. competition or an insight to see what we're building on to where he can extract what we're building on, and then he takes that and then he extracts the monetary value off of what we create, and they go back and relay messages. But as Dr. Umar Johnson said, they do work together as a corporation within the family structure. So it's evident within the movie. But I have my partner, Christnu, live in the studio with me, and we're going to get into the movie Get Out. Now, my thing, Brother Christnu, is the fact that the character, for me, the main character was the friend.
Okay.
Because the friend, he had a 180-degree different take and knowledge than what everybody else had.
Right.
He was saying, man, these white folks, they're going to have you in there being a sex slave.
Yeah.
Man, they in there doing, and they was like, man, this dude is crazy.
Right.
But in the end...
The fool. He was the fool.
He was the fool.
Yeah, but the fool is the jack of all trades.
Right. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, in the story of the Knights of the Round Table, it was the fool that was able to have the knights put their guard down, so once he got in there, instead of... The knights were all experts in different areas of, in certain particular areas. The fool actually came in, or the court jester came in, and he was able to absorb the knowledge from all the knights of the round table, and he became the jack of all trades and became the one.
Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about, bro.
That's the science of the fool.
That's the science of the fool.
Yeah. Fool don't never take himself too seriously to where he's not open-minded to possibilities.
Come on. And he played that.
Yeah.
And in the end, who was there for his partner?
The fool.
The fool.
Yeah.
When they played the fool.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody plays the fool sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in and he came by himself.
Mm-hmm. Solo.
And rescued him.
Yeah.
At the right time.
Yeah. Real G.
Yeah. And got him out of there and he was gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No cavalry, wasn't no TV cameras there. No, he went in there.
Yeah.
And he was telling it. And then she tried to play him and was like, well, your friend want me. But the fool, he understood, I don't want this white broad, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like this girl. But he did say, she's a genius.
Yeah.
But he just, touching on the diabolical nature of the corporation.
Right. She's a genius. Man, and
but really, he was a genius because she ended up, spoiler, getting capped out, getting killed.
Yeah.
And they riding off, they good.
They
really
good.
Go, continue moving forward.
Now, let me ask you this in this scenario. Wait, hold on. Before we leave that part, though, let me ask you this as far as on this scenario, though. The when he was trying to escape, the lady who attacked him, black lady,
Right.
she attacked him in the car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He tried to help her, saying, "Come on, let's get out of here."
Right.
She turns around and attacks him.
Right.
Because he was going against a system or a narrative that she totally believed in.
Well, it's because she had the mind of the grandma.
Yeah.
Whenever the other character was like grandma, because they knew that the sister was in the car with him, but they was like, oh well, that's grandma in the car with her. They had already did the mind swap.
Right.
You know, so it just goes to show, you know, you have these sellouts out here that are, you know, you can't even tell that they one of yours just because of the way they act. They words, thoughts, ways, and actions, you know, so, yeah.
And I related that to, I saw the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when the slave master needed, whether it be the female or the male to get in line, they went to the big mama or the elder or the grandma role.
Mm-hmm.
She came and got everybody in line but she was under his tutelage.
Right.
And is he saying that cycle is still prevalent in today's time? It hasn't been broken. You know, because it seems as though he's ready to flee, but yet she's getting in the way, thinking she's on her post. She's on her job. Her job is to keep him in a place that they relegate. You getting out of your place.
Right.
I got to put you back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Keep you within the slave tradition.
Keep you in the tradition.
As somebody I knew used to always say, passing down of slave traditions. You know, in names, you know, European names with the copyrights, you know, you name it. You know, it's just, you know, the foods that we eat, you know, you name it. You know, it's just a passing down of these prisoner of war traditions.
But they saying that we don't have to pass down the tradition. I mean, they don't have to pass it down.
Right.
We pass it down ourselves. You know, and then that's the problem that we try to conquer.
Right.
You know, of passing down the same narrative that shows no mathematical or scientific benefit. You know what I mean? In today's time.
Right.
So now we're back on we back on Get Out, and Chris, he said that the older gentleman, he said, well, I want your eyes. I want to see what you see. And that was the older white gentleman. And the eyes is the key to the soul. Now, why would you think, and you can elaborate, and I might be missing a point on this, but I was thinking in the terms of, you know, from slavery, they put crack on us, AIDS, and do they want to know how do we see life to where we keep going? What makes us tick? Because obviously it's two different natures, and we're not viewing life the same. They see life in one aspect. We view life in a different aspect.
Right.
He want to get in to see how we view life and may try to use that as a weapon or a tool against us.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, you know, make perfect sense because melanin is the most widely studied aspect of the Constitution in terms of study. You know, so when it comes to, you know, wanting to, you know, see things the way, feel things the way that we feel it, you know, like melanin intensifies, you know, our feeling, you know. I remember one of the teachers gave the example that, you know, you have surface level melanin, and they always talk about the fighting Irish. Shout out to Brother Panic on this one. And the fighting Irish are known to take a punch. And it's not because they're so, you know, that they have a ironclad jaw. It's because they don't have that I think it's called neuromelanin, but a surface level melanin that they don't feel a punch the way that we feel. It's less intensified. That's also why they got to go out there and do whitewater rafting and jump off cliffs and things, because they want to, you know, these things we don't care about doing because the simple things we get an intense feeling from. Why they need to go overboard and do these extra things because they lack feeling.
Right, they need to rush.
Which you can tell just by the way that they move around the planet that they lack feeling.
That's right. You're right. We can bask in the sun and actually feel the vitamins and the rays and the benefit of it. You're right. So on the overall, as far as the metaphysics of the movie Get Out, you know, dealing with just basically the girlfriend, the white girl, and Chris, he, he had no clue that he was being played. But that's why she was a genius.
Right.
He had no inkling of an idea that she was on. She was playing it.
Right.
He was all in.
Right.
And then he thought, and this is just me add my 2 cents to it, but I'm thinking, because a lot of brothers, and I knew some brothers that dated white girls, and they were like, well, man, it's gonna help my credit, or you know what I mean? I better get in the house, or I can get in these social clubs, or I can go to the country club and get in, but in it do not. In the end, it don't work like that. You know what I mean?
At all.
At all. And so he's thinking, this might be my doorway in, but really it's a doorway in to slavery, because Brother Umar did say that they will use your talent or extract your talent for their own purpose, but not for you.
Right.
And then that whatever wealth you do accumulate, when you pass on, it's not going to your family, it's going to her lineage.
Right.
So you still was stuck without, But so now, what is and just to your viewpoint, what is the last, or what can brothers do? Because my partner who played in the NBA was telling me how the agent sent him white girl with the white girl. You know what I mean? Both. How can brothers resist that trap?
Well, for one, they need to do their history on what they're dealing with. I would suggest go and check out Brother Bobby Hemmett, OG Bobby Hemmett, Human Artificial. The first one he did, and then he came out with a revised. He actually wrote a book on the actual subject. If you can get your hands on a book called Dirt, written by a European that documents their history, and you can start, get a thorough understanding of the concept that you're dealing with, and from there, you should be able to make the proper decision moving forward.
Yeah, I believe, because they in there getting injections. They trying to get the Constitution like the sisters, like you say. You know what I mean? And brothers looking like,
Yeah, they bug-eyed.
They
looking like Chris in the movie when he had his eyes was on Buck. Even though it's for a different reason, that's how brothers be,
They see it like that. Yeah.
Well, at least Kanye anyway. Shout out to you, Kanye, but damn, man.
Yeah. Hey, because
get out.
Yeah,
get out, Kanye. Get out, man.
Save yourself. Why still time, bro?
I'm telling you, man. You died as hell like Eminem, man, brother, man. Come back home, man. It's all right, man.
They got him tied to the pentagram.
Yeah. They got him in there saying, they said he lost it. Anytime he do anything that's not in concordance with their agenda, he done lost his mind.
Yeah, he's out one of us. They got him chanting.
Yeah.
But so, in the overall tape, man, that the movie, get out and it shows how they size us up and they say, damn, I bet he can the sprint. I bet he can run this fast. That frame, I bet he can box and and it's like, but we don't. We don't have the full knowledge of the way they see us because we don't sit there and think about them in that manner. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we being watched and don't realize it. Mm-hmm. We moving throughout our everyday by day life thinking we're insignificant, but in his eyes we're significant. Mm-hmm. So and it's like, what do we have to do to wake each other up or to realize our potential and our significance on this planet? But back to the fool had the grip to raise him up. Mm-hmm. The fool, and it's good you pointed that out. But he was in. It seems as though he was in tune with this universe because he knew to stay away from the white broad.
Mm-hmm.
He knew the things that they were capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
He even went to the police station,
Mm-hmm.
and they laughed at it.
Mm-hmm.
Another sister, a brother in Hispanic.
Good point. Great point.
They
Just to show, that was great that they threw that in there just to show that, man, they ain't on your side, man. They look at you like a joke, man.
You
know, now if somebody else had came in there, maybe it would have been taken a little bit more seriously,
Right.
But it's just the point just to show. The main number one point is that, hey, man, they ain't on your side either.
They ain't on your side either.
You see, it was the brother that came and actually rescued him. It wasn't no police. It wasn't. It was us.
It was us.
Yeah.
It was the conscious.
That's it.
That brother was conscious, but the
Right.
conscious was made to look like a fool.
Right.
But all
Right.
of life, because I remember hearing people when they say, well, the black man is God or black power, then they go with their crazy talk or so and so.
Yeah.
Or even when Malcolm or people would speak out against integration,
Mm-hmm.
they thought that they was crazy. But then when you look at them today,
Mm-hmm.
now people saying, man, we should have had our own.
Right.
We could have built and
Right.
deal. And I guess it takes time, but yeah. But they've been taught to see independent thinkers, I guess, as fools, or not, or to not take them serious.
Right. Because they don't have the standard way of thinking. They're thinking outside the box. They're not thinking like the rest of the sheep. They're thinking about, if I was a wolf, and with that also, us being connected on the totem side of things, how would I move?
Right.
Be able to put yourself in those shoes, and he was able to do that.
He was able to do it, man. And but he stuck by you right. He stuck by the fool. He stuck by his partner,
Mm-hmm.
even though his partner didn't believe him in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
His partner was like, he went out there with the white broad. His brother, he advised him not to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Only known him for like a few months. The European shit.
And he out there meeting the family, he was like, nah, bro. And then the other guy that was a zombie slave that was in there, one when Cruz was talking to him, he started bleeding and went crazy and whatnot. I think they knew him from back in the day.
They did.
They
From
knew
Brooklyn.
Yeah,
he was a regular Joe Schmo.
Yeah. Now he up in the, they got in his head. He transformed. They worked that mentality or that slave narrative worked on him and transformed him. But in the end, he was trying to fight out of it.
Right.
Right. But he didn't have.
Once they hit with that flash of light, not the cut.
Right.
What you saying?
They hit with the flashlight. He started coming out of it.
Right.
But he didn't have nobody, or where he was connected to a conscious person that would come for his aid.
Mm-hmm.
He was out there on his own. You know what I mean? They were tearing him up.
Yeah.
He was out there just trying to. I guess he told but is that like you have some people who done time and they've been in there so long till they can't adapt to the outside reality.
Right.
Or meaning he been under that slave mind for so long.
Right.
That's all that they know. And man,
they do this experiment with animals. Is that when you keep an animal in a cage for so long, whenever you open up the gateway, the doorway to the cage, they just stay in there because they didn't got so accustomed to being within this box or this cage.
And that becomes a new reality.
Right. Just like people who are so stuck in one particular mindset or dogmatic to where they can't see outside of that box.
That's just what it is to them.
Yeah.
They don't have the strength or willpower to change their reality.
Right.
So somebody would have to come from amongst them to deliver, to bring them out.
Right.
Couldn't be a foreigner or somebody that they don't recognize.
Right.
It would have to be from amongst their race or their class or their family that can come and stand them up or bring them up out of a certain bondage.
Well, you know what's funny too? What helps is that if somebody was outside the gate and let's say they had a whole trough full of food, then that could get the animal to come out and partake of it. So it's funny how when it comes to influence on, let's just use family and loved ones, for example, is that if you had a certain amount of, let's say, power, influence, resources, etc., then that would give them incentive to come and say, well, you know what, let me listen to what this brother got to say, because people see you before they hear you.
Come on.
It's sad, but that's just the way it is.
That's just how it is, bro. You right. You right. That hey, that's right. You right. That goes to what they say, that some truths we won't believe until white folks back it up. Or they scholars, then we say, okay, it must be true. And that was a struggle that most scholars back in the day had. You know, the truth had to be verified by white scholars. But in today's time, I think we kind of getting in this generation, you do have a lot of younger people, young brothers such as yourself, who is actually studying and dropping science more than I'd say than what they had in, let's say, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, this generation, they thirst for knowledge, and because they don't want to be nobody's slave.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah.
And you can't knock that. That's what's up, man.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to add this piece too. Is when you was talking about integration, I think we may have mentioned this before, but you know, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said before he passed on, it was taken out, as he said that I feel like I'm integrating my people into a burning house.
To a burning house.
You know, our people always got to remember what he said before he was murdered.
That's right. He did, and Dick Gregory did point out the fact that why didn't nobody duck down as if a second shot was coming, because they all stood up and pointed up. How did they know they was going to fire one time? Usually, you standing up and you hear a power, everybody get down, try to take cover.
Right.
So, because they were upset with the turn that Dr. King was taking towards the Vietnam War, and how he was starting to see things, and they were upset. He met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They got upset behind that, so he did become a target.
Right.
But my thing was, even after that, we still didn't forge a way back to prior before we integrated. Because, you know, you had the Black Wall Street, you know, your bus company, bus lines, we rolling.
Yeah, we had our own everything.
Everything.
In different places.
In different cities. Like the Asians do now. You go Southwest as street signs in Chinese.
Street sign and everything.
Everything. Yeah. We was rolling.
They own banks.
And but we integrated, and I was just wondering, why didn't the church say, well, look, man, we got the congregation, we got the people, let's go ahead and put it back like it was. Let's go ahead and start building now, once again for ourselves, and, you know, building for our people.
The energy, you know, it'll benefit the church to get into some Gnostic, you know, go grab up the Gnostic Bible, get into some Gnostic teachings and change the energy, you know, upgrade the energy.
Come on.
You know, upgrade it, you know.
Hey, that was on right on point to where that was knowledge that can be used and that's beneficial.
Right.
That's a beneficial knowledge.
Right.
You're right. Study what the Gnostics studied and you will build. Yeah, you will grow.
Yeah. Get the Gnostic Bible, get the Gnostics by Tobias Churton, you know, some places to start.
That's help. Now, that's help. You know what I mean? Brother coming to help. Now, and everybody, we help, but we like take the help, but hey, but the brother so humble, he keep dropping that knowledge though.
We in this thing.
We in this thing, man. Hey, man, appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, Brother Black.
Man, this VPR Radio, and we out.
Yeah.